My name is Dr. Jim Craig, and I practice at Summerbrook Dental Group.
Angela and James Craig had been married for more than 2 decades. They met in college, built a life together in Colorado, and raised 6 children. Angela was warm, deeply loyal, and active in her church community. Friends described her as patient, nurturing, and selfless, the kind of mother who made every birthday feel special and every struggle feel lighter. James, a dentist, was seen as a calm, steady presence, respected by patients, admired by peers.
My approach to dentistry begins with sincerely listening to the patient and wanting to find out more about where they're coming from and what they're looking for and what they want.
From the outside, they looked like a model family. Behind closed doors, though, their marriage had endured its share of quiet struggles. James had filed for bankruptcy years earlier. There were rumors of infidelity. Still, Angela had stood by him. Those close to her say she believed in forgiveness, in rebuilding, in holding her family together no matter what. If she had any doubts about him, she kept them to herself. But without warning, something strange began to unfold. In early March 2023, Angela was rushed to the hospital in Aurora, Colorado, suffering from dizziness, nausea, and fatigue. Doctors scrambled to understand her condition, running a battery of tests. It wasn't the first time she'd experienced symptoms like this. Over the course of the previous 2 weeks, she had fallen ill multiple times, each episode more severe than the last. She seemed to improve, then crash again, and this time she wasn't getting better. As her condition worsened, James stayed by her bedside. He appeared concerned, attentive. To most, he looked like a devoted partner trying to support his sick wife. But behind that calm exterior, he was hiding a secret. One that would soon shake his family, his community, and the entire country. Angela had no history of chronic illness, no medications that could explain what was happening. Doctors at the hospital were puzzled. They treated her symptoms, IV fluids, anti-nausea drugs, oxygen, but nothing worked. It was as if her body was shutting down. Then, suddenly, she coded. Medical staff tried to revive her. But on March 15, 2023, Angela was pronounced dead. It was a tragedy that sent shockwaves through the community. A healthy, vibrant woman gone in an instant. Friends grieved. Her church mourned. Her children were left without a mother. But even in those earliest days of mourning, something wasn't sitting right. Investigators would later say that it started with a phone call from one of James's colleagues. A dental office employee had noticed something unusual. Packages were arriving at the office, not dental supplies, but chemicals, dangerous ones, and one name kept coming up: potassium cyanide. The tip led police to take a closer look at James. They examined his computer, his search history, his email. What they found was chilling. Just days before Angela was hospitalized, James had searched online for lethal doses of various poisons. Terms like how many milligrams of cyanide is fatal and is arsenic traceable in an autopsy. He had even watched YouTube videos about poison and its effects. It was damning, but it was only the beginning. Beneath that picture-perfect image, things were deteriorating. James's behavior had become increasingly erratic. And while Angela tried to keep the family grounded, those close to her sensed that something was shifting, something she wasn't ready to talk about yet. Behind the scenes, James was struggling, financially, emotionally, and morally. His practice was in debt, He was spending recklessly, and as detectives soon discovered, he was having an affair. Emails revealed a secret relationship with another woman, someone he had rekindled a romance with while Angela was sick. She lived out of state, but the two had met in person. In those messages, James spoke about wanting a fresh start and a new life with her. Prosecutors argued that his words and actions suggested he was planning a future without Angela, and that her death would clear the way. In the days leading up to Angela's death, James had ordered potassium cyanide and arsenic online. He had them delivered to his dental office, where he intercepted the packages before staff could open them. Investigators believe he added the poisons to Angela's protein shakes and pre-workout drinks, substances she consumed daily without suspicion. Colleagues told police that James was acting strangely in the days surrounding Angela's hospitalization. One staff member said he spent hours in his office with the door closed. Another noted that he seemed detached, distracted, and oddly upbeat, even as his wife lay dying in the ICU. Angela's sister, suspicious of James's behavior, contacted the authorities. She told them about the affair, about his strange history, about how Angela had confided in her that something felt off. She said Angela had been increasingly paranoid, as if she suspected James might be trying to harm her. Toxicology tests were ordered. The results came back. Angela had been poisoned. The levels of cyanide in her system were consistent with deliberate ingestion, far beyond anything that could be accidental. It was no longer a mystery. It was murder. On March 19, 2023, just 4 days after Angela's death, James was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The arrest shocked the community. Neighbors couldn't believe it. Patients were stunned. The story made national headlines. A respected dentist, a father of 6, accused of killing his wife with poison. The evidence was overwhelming. In addition to his online searches and chemical purchases, investigators found hidden email accounts he used to communicate with his mistress. They discovered deleted messages, computer logs, and delivery confirmations. His digital footprint was a roadmap to murder. Prosecutors painted a picture of a man who had carefully planned his wife's death. He knew she drank protein shakes. He knew her routines. He used his medical knowledge to avoid detection, ordering poisons in small quantities, timing her dosages to create confusion among doctors. He even brought her back from the brink once, just to cover his tracks. The motive, they argued, was simple. James wanted to be with his mistress and escape his crumbling life. He viewed Angela not as a partner, but as an obstacle. And he was willing to kill to remove that obstacle. During the trial, James maintained his innocence. His defense team suggested Angela may have taken the cyanide herself. They questioned the chain of custody for the toxicology tests, but the jury wasn't convinced.
A verdict is being announced in the trial of a Colorado man accused of murdering his wife by poisoning her protein shakes.
In August 2025, James was found guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
We, the jury, unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt, find the defendant, James Craig, guilty of murder in the first degree, guilty of solicitation to commit tampering with physical evidence, guilty of solicitation to commit perjury in the first degree, guilty of solicitation to commit murder in the first degree. As both of the parties have indicated today, the sentence that the court has to impose on count 1 is a mandatory sentence of life without possibility of parole.
When handing down the sentence, Judge Shea Whitaker remarked, "Dr. Craig unleashed a path of destruction as wide as a tornado and just as devastating. Damage to his children, damage to Angela's family, damage to his own family.
Dr. Craig unleashed a path of destruction as wide as a tornado and just as devastating.
Angela's family spoke tearfully at the sentencing. Her sister described her as a devoted mother, a woman of faith, and someone who deserved to grow old surrounded by her children and grandchildren. Her death, she said, was not only a tragedy, but a betrayal of the deepest kind. The murder of Angela Craig was not a crime of passion. It was not a moment of rage. It was a slow, methodical, premeditated poisoning carried out over days and weeks. A husband's calculated decision to end a life in silence and secrecy. For many who followed the case, the story of James Craig was more than just a crime. It was a cautionary tale, a reminder that evil can hide behind the most ordinary facades, that a smile and a lab coat don't guarantee innocence, and that sometimes the most dangerous person is the one sleeping beside you. Make sure to subscribe for more true crime documentaries just like this one. And if you want to dive deeper, check out the other cases featured on screen now.